Discretion is advised.
In this quaint turn-of-the-century community called Old Town Spring, where Victorian-style shops line the streets, one business stands out.
Pole fitness for Jesus.
Yes, pole fitness for Jesus. There's no preaching, just teaching.
So hook low, and then you just bring it through.
Set to Christian music, church-going women spin and slither around poles, but the instructor and students say it's not about sex.
This is my second class.
For them, this is about getting closer to God.
God gives us these bodies, and they're supposed to be our temples, and we're supposed to take care of them, and that's what we're doing.
Tiffany Booth was raised in church. Now the pole is her temple.
I do feel a spiritual connection whenever you have the music on and it's singing about lifting you up and being closer to God. You do feel that.
Getting classes off the ground hasn't been easy for instructor Crystal Dean.
Some guy came up with his Bible, and we were in class, and he thumped on the door and was like waving his Bible. That people who want to, sit there and judge it, well, that's sacrilegious, or, that doesn't really make you a good Christian when you judge other people.
There are those who just can't get past the stigma.
In God's eyes, it wouldn't be attractive.
19-year-old Eric Pergison's family runs Lord and Nature, a Christian gift shop neighboring the pole dancers.
We have to watch those boundaries that we cross over and not allow the enemy to take it in another direction.
We found women who said the classes clear their moral compass.
If someone wants to swing on a pole on Sundays, then that's their preference.
And those who straddle the subject.
Are you doing it in front of men? Are you doing it as a, sex in exchange for money? What are you doing it for?
But for these women, there's room for both the Bible and a little body roll in this town that touts its old-fashioned ways.
They're, going to church, and then they're worshiping God. It was just a way for them to continue that. We're taking care of ourselves. It doesn't mean we're bad people. We're good people.
Best Shape of Your Life holds Pole Fitness for Jesus classes on the second Sunday of each month for ladies who take in their church pamphlets. The classes are free. The instructor's reason? She doesn't want to make a profit on God's.
Preacher behind bars after some alarming allegations involving prostitution of minors.
Well, I'll make it easy for you. It's going to be $50,000 on count 3 and $50,000 on count 4, because I believe he poses a great danger to the community as well as children in our community. As to count 5,
52-year-old Ron Maurice Cooper is facing human trafficking charges. Authorities say Cooper drugged and forced young boys to engage in sexual activity for money. By first promising them a career in modeling, he now remains in jail without bond.
More fallout over the Richmond Christian School student expelled for sexting. Some parents are now unenrolling their children from the school.
I'm biracial, and my mom is white, my dad is black. So to have my son attend a school where he potentially could be made to feel like he can't date a white girl or an Asian girl or anything other outside of his race is heartbreaking.
Tonight, shocking new developments in an attempted murder case involving a Merced pastor. We spoke with the shooting victim from the hospital who describes this man as a violent sexual predator. We do want to warn our more sensitive viewers, this may be disturbing to some.
Savannah Moreno is just 19 years old, but in her short life, she's already suffered more than most people can even imagine.
You could see it. I had stitches right there. And I have a hole in the back of my head.
On Friday, she says her adopted father, Raul Moreno, shot her, her boyfriend, and another family member multiple times. Her body is recovering not only from a gunshot wound, but a C-section as well. She just gave birth to her daughter 3 weeks ago.
The last thing that was running through my head was, my baby, she needs me.
Savannah says the shooting Friday was a culmination of years of abuse. She says Moreno is actually her biological brother, but adopted her at a young age. And she says starting at 6 years old, he raped her and another family member for years.
Yeah, it makes me feel better.
Hey, buddy, how about you stop calling my brother too late?
It makes me feel better knowing that he can't hurt me.
Raul Moreno is now in custody for the attempted murder of 3 people. But for years before that, Savannah says he was a pastor at Victory Outreach Church in Merced. Their Facebook page describes the church as a family-oriented, Christ-centered ministry that is part of the Victory Outreach International family. Action News tried to get in touch with church leaders multiple times, but no one has been available for comment.
Once he got home, he was this angry, demanding guy. And once he got to the church, it was, oh, he's nice, tender-hearted. I just want them to know, that this guy has been lying to you for years. And he played the part.
Savannah, her other family member, and her boyfriend are all expected to recover from their injuries, but their wounds are serious, and they say it could take a while to heal. Emotionally, Savannah is trying to move forward, but she says that will take much longer.
Shot is not a common portrait for a man who once helped lead Agape Bible Church. But the apparent sins of 50-year-old Bob Wyatt have led him here, accused of sexually assaulting a child of a congregation member for nearly 2 years, a child he came to know at Agape and then homeschooling her. An arrest affidavit shows the girl told police the 50-year-old had sex with her, but are Wyatt's alleged sins his alone? An arrest affidavit shows the head pastor, Daryl Ferguson, and the girl's father agreed not to report the sexual assault to police or social services because they were concerned about what would happen to Bob. Another congregation member ended up reporting it to police because it appeared there was no concern about the impact of the crime on the child. That whistleblower says despite admitting the sexual relationship, Ferguson allowed Wyatt to continue going to church and crossing paths with his young victim.
You can't have a perpetrator of a crime walking down the same hallways as the victim, just for the victim's sake. How is she supposed to look at that every day?
Police also contacted the girl's adoptive parents, whose reactions are unexpected. The dad told police he wouldn't let their daughter talk to them and felt biblical counseling they would receive through the church was sufficient. The affidavit says the dad made it clear his interest was in protecting the church and its reputation more than protecting his daughter.
It's new at 6. A Phoenix pastor is in custody facing charges of child molestation. Police have arrested 49-year-old Jose Vicente Morales. According to court documents, he's accused of impregnating a 13-year-old girl and marrying a 10-year-old girl in Mexico. Officials say he led a small congregation here in the valley. Investigators are now working to identify other potential victims.
New developments tonight in Operation Undertow, an online undercover sexting that we told you about last night. 22 men were arrested in Pensacola for traveling to have sex with a minor and related charges. One of those suspects was a pastor at a church in Pace. The CW55's Haley Minogue has more on this disturbing case.
We showed you this video last night of suspect after suspect being arrested. One suspect who was arrested is 52-year-old David Hoppenjan, former reverend at First United Methodist Church in Pace. According to the arrest citation, Hoppenjan believed he was meeting a 14-year-old boy to have oral sex. A woman who works across the street from the church didn't want to be shown on camera because of the sensitive subject material, but says times have changed since she was growing up.
We could go outside and run around, do whatever. We didn't have electronics to communicate with strangers, and definitely scary.
Hoppenjan also served as an executive pastor in Shalimar for 9 years before coming to Pace, and before that worked as a youth pastor at the Wetumpka First United Methodist Church near Montgomery.
The director of communications for the Alabama West Florida Conference issued this statement saying that they were saddened to hear of the arrest of Reverend Hoppenjan and that he was no longer a pastor here and they were fully cooperating with authorities.
I asked a question about how long Hoppenjan had been a pastor at First Methodist, but was told no questions would be answered at this time. As for the mother across the street, she said she'll be having a talk with her children about online safety.
I think kids don't have a clue how serious it is. They don't have a clue how much they're in danger. Especially, my son has a phone. He's 11.
Wetumpka First United Methodist declined to comment on why Hoppenjan left their church. There's a nursery at United Methodist of Pace. Reporting in Santa Rosa County, Haley Minogue, the CW55 News at 9.
Be a part of creating churches where people who didn't know all the rules, people could belong before they believed. We have a community where everyone is welcome because nobody's perfect, but anything is possible. And that's been my priority. My priority over the last 14 years is to pour my entire life into making that possible. But in the meantime, I didn't prioritize some other things that were equally as important. And for some time now, I've been leading on empty. And so I believe that the best thing for me to do is to step aside from Crosspoint. And so I am officially resigning as the pastor of Crosspoint Church. We've said, right, that this is a church where it's okay to not be okay. And I'm not okay. I'm tired and I'm broken. And I just need some rest. I love you guys. I love the vision of this church. The vision of this church is not me, by the way. I speak words, but that's all vision is. It's just words when it's spoken. Vision becomes vision when it gets lived out. And you guys have lived it out. And I believe that our best days are ahead. Nobody, trust me, nobody is a bigger fan of this church and a bigger fan of you guys than me. I'm proud of what we do. I'm really proud of what we've done. I'm proud of you. More than anything that we've ever prayed for as a church, we've wanted the unloved to feel loved.